Hey guys, so today, uh, hi, my name is Vijay Pandey, and this today session we are going to talk about the Cisco ACI integration with the VMware EXXI vCenter. So we had the lab, and I hope you already have the basic knowledge of the Cisco ACI. What is Cisco ACI? So what we are going to do here is we have this topology. We have two spine switches, two leaf switches, and we have Cisco UCS servers where we have the fabric interconnect is connecting to a Cisco UCS server, and this is the BPC interface. And our EXXIs are running over here, and we have VMs. And the logical topology, my requirement is this one. I need tenant VMM, one VRF. We need app web DB applications. We are going to create application profile, then EPG. Then we are going to push the DBS switch on the VMware EXXI using the vCenter API communication. So if we talk about the how VMware interconnection works, so we have a prerequisite. So EPIC should be able to reach to the vCenter server, and vCenter should have the reachability with the EXXI host. So the moment we have the out of band reachability between the EPIC server to the VMware vCenter server, we will be able to create the vCenter domain, VMM domain, and make sure that EPIC inbound and outbound interface, both interfaces will be used for the configuration of the vCenter. So in short term, the moment you integrate in the EPIC will push your configuration to vCenter. vCenter will push your configuration to EXXI on top of the EXXI, creating the BDS switch, and BDS switch again will go for the hypervisor. BDS switch will be associated to the hypervisor. Then hypervisor, based on the policies which you are EPIC will create, hypervisor will automatically get the informations. And I'm not going in this because this session is totally dedicated for the uh, lab point of view, practical point of view. So this is how it looks like. We are going to push the Cisco EPIC DBS switch. So VMware by default will have its own virtual switches, but Cisco EPIC will push its own virtual switch to manage the entire infrastructure, um, VMware infrastructure. The advantage of Cisco EPIC DBS switches is that will be totally fully managed by the Cisco EPIC. Okay, and our requirement is like this. So let me give you that brief about that. So here is the one. So we need dynamic VLAN range, which is required for VMM integration. And either it can be static also. Static is recommended. Dynamic is different use cases. Sometimes you get to create this dynamic. Sometimes your requirement can be the static. And between the VMware and EPIC, there is a protocol which is Offlex protocol, which will be the running bit to sync the data plane in between the host and Cisco EPIC. And there are control plane, data plane learning between EPIC and vCenter. So Cisco EPIC will use the out of band address to communicate with the Cisco VMware vCenter API, and in-band interface it will use via the leaf and spine switches to communicate the this. Suppose this is the, for example, this is the EPIC server, right? So out of band interface will be used for the Cisco vCenter VMware vCenter communication, and in-band interface will be used for the VDS configuration and pushing your configuration. Okay, and it use by default LLDP to resolve the all the configuration, and it depends on the what kind of vendor you are using. If you are using Cisco UCS, it supports CDP. If you are using some other vendor, sometimes it supports the LLDP. It depends on your vendor what protocol it support. Cisco ACI does support all the Cisco LLDP, even the CDP, MAC pinning, all the things will be supported. So let's start the configuration first. Okay, our goal is this one. We are going to have one tenant, one VRF. Under one VRF, we are going to have 3 BD, app, DB, web. Then we are going to have the EPG creation, 3 EPG, and these 3 EPG will have the 3 virtual machines: app, web, DB. So let's start with it. So I have this lab, this virtual lab. So I already have the few configuration. If I go here, VLAN, VLAN pool is already created dynamic pool, and the physical domain I already have the physical domain, this one, and which is associated to the dynamic pool. And I already have, I think, AAEP. If not, then we can create the AAEP. If I go to the AAEP here, nothing associated. So I'm going to create one AAEP here. So let me create that VMM AAEP. And what is the AAEP and all? You can check my video where you have explained that what is the use of these things. AAP basically is a kind of policy proxy which makes your uh, interface policy and domain and VLAN policy to talk to each other. Okay, and this is the flow. I have the VLAN, I have the domain, I have the AAP. Let's check the interface policy and the profile, then switch policy profile. Okay, so our topology is like this: 1/1 interface is connecting to our these switches. So this configuration is already done. Okay, so I'm not going to explain the interface policy configuration and all the things. I will directly jump into the VMM integration. If I go to VMware here, VMware, if I'm going to right click and create the VMware, let me log into VMware here. What is the VMware username password? So I have this username password. Okay. If I go, and this is the UCS server which is running the all the EXXI and all the things. This is VMware. So if I log in, this is 3.1 is running Fember, and I'm going to give a name. I already have the set of name. So my BDS name going to be uh, my vCenter switch. And I'm not going to create ABS and ABE switch here. I'm going to create DBS switch, which is default one for us. AAP, whatever I have created, I'm going to associate that. I'm going to associate the VLAN, which is already created, which is pool has 1000 to 1500 VLAN. And in the credential section, I will add like vCenter rate, and I will put that, sorry, username and password, which is like this one. This is the vCenter username password. So make sure that you are giving Epic authority to talk to vCenter using this particular username and password. If username password is wrong, then vCenter communication won't be established. So this is the username password I've given. Submit. I'm not going to add the vCenter. Uh, vCenter one. If I go and sorry, and if what is the IP address? Okay, say this is the IP address, right? vCenter IP address. So, and let's give it this name of the vCenter. And this is the one, the cloud DC data center name. Why data center name is the cloud DC? If you check that here, so this data center is already created. So EXXI is already associated with this uh, vCenter, and just going to create the one virtual BDS switch. There is a V switch which is already created by the vCenter, which is not Cisco API V switch. Okay, there is a virtual switches. Look here, service and VM name. So this is the virtual switch which is already created for the EXXIs. And now I'm going to create the new kind of uh, switch, which will name will be the VDS switch, and associate these VMs into that. Okay, so currently all the things are associated with the virtual switch. If you go here, this is our topology. Okay, so as I told you that this is our topology. This is the switches, fabric standard switches. This is a server where we are running the EXXI, and these are the host. And I have access policy. BPC is running for that. So if I go here, sorry, in the server mode, there is a EXXI boot from SAN is already there. So I have two EXXI hosts which is running in a Blade 2 and Blade 3 servers. And if you say finite state machine is okay. All the things are fine. All the hosts are active and healthy. Okay. Now, if I go to the epic here and create that, the moment I will create that, here you will see that under this DC, you will see that one virtual distribution switch will be created. Okay, I'm going to enable this switch MAC pinning MCDP because uh, UCS doesn't have LLDP here, so one is created. So if I go here, if I give policy and check that health of this vCenter, it should be operational. If you see the online is showing here, right? And what version we have? We are running the 7.6.7.0 version. We have 6 machines. If I go here, controller, under the controller, you will see that my vCenter is integrated here. It's pretty much simple. So make sure you have out-of-band connect communication from vCenter to EXXI. And this is the hypervisor. We have two hypervisors is running on this vCenter. If you see two hypervisor, EXXI1, EXXI2, right? And if you see that this is the VDS switch on hypervisor, if you check that, these are the hypervisor and how many interface you have. If you see that this hypervisor has one VM, base VM, which is the Red Hat VM. If you see second hypervisor, how many VMs it has? It has another this VM. If we'll expand that, this particular hypervisor, we will see virtual machine. So there is a lot of virtual machines. Most of them are off, on, and one is off. So if you go here and click this NIC is showing us what is the capacity of this EXXI. Okay, so now the task is here is we have vCenter, so we have VDS switch. VDS switch is not have any kind of association. Okay, so what so far has done here is epic. This is the epic, for example, and epic. This is the vCenter, vCenter, and this is the EXXI we have already running. Okay, so this is the existing setup. This is the V switch, and these are the EXXI, and these are the EXXI2. And on top of this EXXI, we have small VMs already. We have many VMs, right? Now the Epic has, this is the vCenter. vCenter. Now Epic has created the new switch. We call that BDS switch here on the vCenter. BDS switch, which is totally controlled by the Epic. Epic is the boss for this switch. And for this V switch and XXI, vCenter was the boss previously. Now, our task is to migrate this EXXI interface to these switches. So whatever these VMs are present here, they can talk to the our leaf switches directly connected. Okay. If you want to control fully the Cisco VMware environment through Cisco Epic, you have to migrate these EXXI from vSwitch to here. So what I will do here is, you will see that EXXI interfaces. So there are multiple interfaces, right? You will see that which interface is on, which interfaces are in used. Okay, so if I go to vCenter here and network here, you will see that there is no distribution switch. If you go to networking, you will see that my vSwitch has been created here by the Epic, my switch here. And by default, this switch has quarantine interface, which is default interface. You cannot delete it. Make sure that you cannot delete it. If I go to topology section here, uh, sorry, if I go here, you can check all the policies, what all the policies are running, all the things, and topology section. This is the VDS which I have created. Okay, so just one VLAN is one interface is created. And we see that this BDS switch is just blank created here. This switch is just blank here, which is created by the EPIC, and nothing is associated here. So this BDS will have two interface. One is uplink, one is downlink. So downlink interface will be used for the VMs, and uplink interface will be associated with the EXXI hosts. So the uplink interface, they can talk to the our ACI. Okay, so just like this. So if I go here, so there will be the two links. Okay, so uplink and downlink. VDS, there's going to be uplink, downlink. So uplink will be associated. There are multiple uplinks. There will be the 8 uplinks per V switch or the BDS switch. So it means 8. If you see the how many uplinks are created, 9 total. 8, sorry, 8 created. So total 8 EXXI can be associated if we associate one EXXI with the one uplink. Otherwise, one uplink can be associated with the multiple EXXI also. It's up to you. So if I go here and associate this EXXI to this uplink and this EXXI to this uplink, and these VMs will be, so currently there is a default quarantine ports. Okay, this is the default. Is like we have default VLAN, right? This is the default port, right? So this default port, we are not going to use for anything. We are going to create multiple ports from the EPIC, and we will use these ports to associate with the VMs like this. And these ports will be tagged with the VLAN, which I tell you that. So let's second task is to associate our EXXIs with the vCenter. Sorry. I go here. So this VDS is created. LLDP is LSCP mode is active. If this you see that all the things, now you have to add the host on this, and the moment you will say go to the networking and here and try to add the host, add and manage host, and add host, you will see that move one by one. Okay, add host here. So we have EXXI1, EXXI2 in the vCenter. Going to next. Okay, so I'm going to, it's up to you how, what kind of migration you are doing. So if you are doing the fresh migration, you can move all the things into the single sort. Otherwise, always move this virtual machine in second step. Do not select all the things, okay? Which is kind of is not recommended, to be honest, but yeah, this is how you can do that. Later you can migrate when you have the virtual port, because currently if you see that EXXI will have a quarantine port, VDS switch will have only quarantine port, right? So where these switches will, where these VMs will be present, not nowhere, right? So better is to keep uplink interface of the EXXI. First move this interface, then move this interface to the here. So second step is this. Let's add the interface. So this, if you see that these are the EXXI. EXXI1 has 4 V switches. Only how many ports are free? One port. So I will select one port for this. I will put this assigned to our uplink 1. Sorry, if I go to this, if I I have assigned it the DVS switch. Let me assign this port. So out of 5 ports, 4 ports are already in use in EXXI. I have just one free port. I'm going to select. So if you see that EXXI has, this is the EXXI server. Okay, it has 4 ports. One, two, 5 ports actually. Three, four, five. Out of 5 ports, 4 ports were already in used, right? So if you remove those 4 ports, there might be disruption in your infrastructure. So first thing is use free ports to migrate. Later you can move that once your connectivity is done. Otherwise, if you have kind of if you're ready to take the disruption, you can move these interfaces also. Then I'm going to say next. And I'm going to add adapter. So let me take that which adapter I need to add. So I don't need to select, to be honest. By default, you can use that. You can add the adapters, up to you how you want to do that. If there is any multiple interfaces or something like that, you can assign that. Otherwise, just keep as it is. Okay, so this is the iSCSI. We have storage, and that's fine. Let's move here. So the moment you will move here, you will see here. If I refresh here, you will see 2 hosts in uplink. Look here. So these 2 hosts are connected now. Now time to make that our logical time to put our this uh, southbound interfaces. Southbound interface, we will put that and allocate the some VMs. These VMs we will use in that particular. So these VMs are deployed in EXXI, right? If you see the base VM network, so these VMs standard. So if I'll go to host, sorry. So if I go to this VM, so this VM is must be deployed on the this particular host. This is the IP address. Where is advanced hardware, advanced configuration? Yeah, EXXI1 deployed on EXXI. If I say to 122, it is on EXXI2. So VMs are deployed across the multiple 2XXI. And if I go here, and if I try to achieve this one, I will create tenant, VRF, bridge domain. Bridge domain will be the gateway for these VMs. Okay. So what is the currently IP address? Let me check that. What IP address we have here is. So we have, sorry, we have 20.1, 20.2 IP address. So yeah, so or else I can check from here only. So what is the VM IP address? Like this one. 192.168 1.100 is IP address. So 1.100. So if I Ubuntu 1, Ubuntu 2, I'm going to use these two, or else I can use base VM. No, I'm going to use Ubuntu 1 and Ubuntu 2. Ubuntu 1 has IP address 1.11 and 1.13. So if I go here, log into Ubuntu 1 web console, I go here. Okay, so I have login issue. So let me check that what will be the login. XXI1. So I might be, there might be some credential if I'm not wrong, or else because address. Okay, so this is the IP address. It can be IP 1.30, 1.11. So what the default gateway for this? Uh, let me check the default gateway if I can figure out. I don't think I can figure out. what I'm going to give you here is so I might try another password. Admin. Okay, no problem. That's okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to associate this one to B VMs in two different VLAN. Okay, so I'm going to create one tenant, just like this flow, which I have. Tenant we are going to create two bits domain for now, 1 to 1 and 1 to B, two EPGs. I'm going to create port group on this B switch. So how to do that? I'm going to add the tenant VMM and submit. Once we have tenant VMM, I'm going to create a VRF1. So if I go here, one VRF I'm going to create, VRF VMM, going to submit it. I'm going to create the two BDs. I'm going to create BD app or Ubuntu A. Okay. LT configuration, of course, I'm going to give the default gateway 192.160. What was the IP? 12 has 1.11. Sorry, we have all this which have the same IP address. So might be 18.1.254/24. Okay, going to give private VRF. I do not have any external communication. It will be R unicast routing should be enabled because it's going to be L3. R flagging is disabled. Data plane learning is still enabled. Of course, limit IP submit. I'm not going to limit anything. Just submit it. Second BD we are going to create. Sorry, so we are this domain second. I am just drag and drop it. You can create it by one. Web 1 to B. Okay, so forget. I'm just ignore this IP address configuration whatever I have. I'm just matching that 18.2.254/24. Okay, and I'm going to ignore this IP subnet check. Right. Perfect. So I have done this configuration so far. Tenant bridge domain, tenant VRF bridge domain 2. I'm going to create app profile. Then I'm under that I'm going to associate two EPG for bridge domain, VMM domain. So here we have app profile. It's going to be the app profile VMM domain. Create it. Trying to create two EPGs under that. First EPG name will be app 1 to A. This domain will be app 1 to 1. This one, and just going to finish it. Okay, one is created. I'm going to create another app, web 1 to B. Right, I'm going to associate the B. Finish. I'm going to associate the domain. As of now, I have created, but you will not see here any port here. On this one, you will not see any kind of ports because I have not associated these applications in any domain. Okay, so I'm going to associate this domain. I'm going to set, if you see that I have one domain, okay, we see that I'm going to say immediate this. It has meaning in different meaning. It has deployment immediacy and the resolution immediacy. That's a different thing. I'm not going to enable any kind of port channel. Oh, sorry, private VLANs. Uh, VLAN location will be dynamic. I'm not going to have going to touch anything here. can be static. You can select like 1001 something or like VLAN 1001. One going to be dynamic, one going to be static. I will create, okay, and enter it. The moment you will enter it here, domain, you will see that one port group will be reflecting here. So if I refresh this, wait for it. If I go topology, it must be reflecting, should reflect here. Now, if I go to the second and create that, 1 to 2 domain, VMM domain, I'm going to associate this, and I'm just going to create everything dynamic for this. Now, if I go here, must reflect here. So look here, 1001 has been created for web UB, UNB, not for A. The reason is, if I go here, the reason is encapsulation, VLAN allocation, which I have created here. If you see here, look here. So this VLAN is dynamic allocation as it will choose a by default dynamic allocation. If I choose static allocation, then only this particular configuration will work. This particular configuration will work for the app one. If I go here and put here in the dynamic mode, if I go here and remove that dynamic part, sorry, delete it first and add it, then I will show you that change the static mode. I'm going to say dynamic. I'm going to say dynamic. Okay. So you will see that another VLAN will be pushed here. Yeah, look here. Now, if you want to control the VLAN allocation, which is recommended one, okay, which is recommended because sometime if you have any outage or something and the VLAN location is dynamic, it may create the issue for you. If I go static allocation, done. Now, if I go to tenant now, if I go and create another EPG, EPG3, for example, okay, EPG3, EPG database, for example, and this domain, I can give any random this domain, done. And now if I go here and allocate this domain, static VLAN 1008, right? For example, if I submit it, you will see here, it must reflecting here 1008 now. Dynamic has been removed, static has been coming, is coming now. So if you see here, this has been, so if you go here, dynamic, I have removed it. It means I'm controlling my VLAN manually. VLAN 1001. If I reflect here, look here, 1001 is coming now. If I go here and change it, which is recommended one. So it's up to you how you want to prefer your encapsulation, whether you want dynamic or static. I would always prefer to have the static VLAN allocation because at least I know that which VLAN is associated with which app, right? Now, port is created. Now, we need to associate these ports to the VLANs, to the VMs, right? These VMs. So now if I go to this port, right click, currently these VMs are allocated to the vSwitch. Now if I go and edit these settings, sorry, not this VM, VM1 settings, and here you will see that you will see the vCenter. In the vCenter, I'm going to select more option. In the more option, you will see that there are few port group here is hitting, right? If you see here, I'm going to select, sorry, A, this one. And if you see, the name is very strange. Why is name is strange? I will explain that why the name is strange. Okay. If I go here and minimize this page, if I say okay, perfect. Same thing, I'm going to locate this interface and going to say more. Then you have to say DB. Okay. If I go here, you will see that two VMs will be allocated here. Virtual machines. If you look here, these are the virtual machines associated here. Now they can talk to the how are this uh, build domain, but this is the we do not have data plane, so we cannot kind of ping that thing. But this is how you configure it. Second option is, so this is the name I was talking about, right? So if you see that, you will find out the path of the EPGs. This is the tenant name. This is the application profile. This is the EPG name. If I create EPG 100, you will see the EPG. This will be the EPG 100. This is the tenant, application profile, EPG name. This is the path for the your identifying your destination. Now, this is the what we were configuring from the AP. Right now, there is another option. vCenter can control the APIC and can configure this VDS switch. How you achieve that? Let's go to the home page, and there is option B package. We call that. There must be Cisco ACI package. This is the new kind of things which has been introduced. So if you click here, Cisco ACI Fabric, just register it. Yes, I want to register it. So if you're going to give the epic one FPDN, epic one dot d cloud dot cisco.com, right? And use existing. So I don't have certificate, but I'm going to give username and password. So either you can be the certificate-based authentication or can be the password, right? Generate, check, verify. Okay, so generate, check, verify, or use existing. Uh, just give me a second. There might be registered new ACI Fabric. If I go register here, use certificate. I'm not going to use certificate. Okay, just going to use username password. So epic one dot the cloud.com. I'm going to say, all right, epic one dot the cloud.cisco.com. Sorry, cisco.com. To register it, you will see that epic will be registered into the vCenter. You will see that three epics will be restricted. You just have to put any one epic details. All the three epic will be reflecting here. You will see that you can control the epic, not control, but yeah, few things you can do it. What all the configuration, like tenant configuration, all the things configuration you can do it. Like suppose you want to create the application profile or you want to create the contact anything, right? Under which tenant? I have two tenant. Let's create the one EPG under the tenant. Okay, in the point group, three is already created. So you will see that all the policies are three already created. If I go here and create the another one, I'm going to say test vCenter. Okay. Now you can where you want to associate. You can have the, by default, this whatever you are going to configure will be pushed on the DBS switch. Okay, bridge domain, of course, you can have option to select it. Okay, so I'm going to select the VRF1, not here. In this tenant, I'm going to select this VRF. I'm going to select bridge domain, anyone bridge domain, that's fine. And yeah, going to create it here. So the moment I create it here, you will see that is here, you will see that one EPG has been created. If you see the contact here, you will see that is created via whom? You will see the path vCenter. Okay, so all these things, basic things, you can create it here. And if you see that, check that this epics, this configuration, whatever you have done, where is created here. So if I go host and cluster, you will see that here in networking tab, one v one tab vCenter will be created. If I go here, EPG has been created, but we have not associated that EPG to anywhere. That's why here is not showing anything, right? If I go to the home, and let's associate that EPG to VMM, sorry. Yeah, so if I go to the home, if I go to the V6CI, so AP, so continuously our they are trying to improve the VMware is trying to improve their product, but it's not that good, but it's okay to have at least if you know the VMware and EXXI stuff, then you can handle entire infrastructure from single administrative, right? You do not need to uh, go here and there and perform any task. Okay, so I have created one EPG here. So application profile, if I go here, if I go to particular EPG here, which EPG I have created, let me remove this. So test, this is the one EPG I've created. If I go here and association, if I give here TBS, and if I going to give here anything, if I go here, vCenter and associate here is already associated, but it's not coming here because the VLAN location I have set is static. If I go here and change that VLAN location to dynamic, you will might see that will be pushed in the. So vCenter, whatever you are creating must be the dynamic VLAN. Okay. So if you see there here, vCenter, if I go here, host and cluster, you will see here, one REST port will be removed, just one will be there. If you see here, there, if I go here, tenant and application profile, PG here, domain, refresh, you will, if you see here, why the red tab is coming here? Because ACI domain vCenter port group is deleted. So there is a like, if any significant changes happen through the API, we send our DBS switch will be directly impacted. Okay, so make sure that you, whatever you are doing the changes, you make sure that you perform it carefully. Otherwise, it may cause the issue for you. So if I go static and yes, now it's fine. Now I can allocate this tenant. So this is the epic BDS creation. If you want to create the communication between the EPG, you have to create the contract. So contract will be based on your how you want to communicate with the uh, your EPGs between the EPGs. So this is now pushed here. Configuration. If I go to the port post, sorry. So if I go here, topology, you will see that this 109 is also created here. Okay, so this is how you create that. You can enable the private VLAN. These are some features. We can enable the net flow, port mirroring, health check for this BDS switch. These are some features which you can perform on these BDS switches. And if you want to do some manual modification, something, if you want to check, you will see that Epic virtual switch. So whatever it is configuring, it is through the Epic. Maximum port can be 32, sorry. Maximum network can be 6, host is 2, virtual machine is 2 currently active. So these are the some basic. If you want to create new data center, you can create it. It's up to you. Otherwise, if you want to use existing data center, you can use it in the vCenters devices. If you want to create the contract here, so let me go here, topology. This is the EPGs I have. So just sorry, let me minimize this page, and if I like give you that overview of the entire tenant history or details rather, so you will have the better picture. So this is how you can check that history. So there is like one tool which you can use for entire topology check. So how your source and destination looks like and how they works. These things can be checked here. So this is the EPG. Suppose you want to create the contract here. So you can drag and drop it like contract. There is already one contract create. This is the EPG. So if you want to create intra EPG contract, if you want to use existing or new, you can create it. I'm not going to do anything. Just going to use existing contract. If there is any permit ICMP. So this is the contract I have. Now, if you want to create contract with this, I'm going to use EPG. So one existing contact ICMP permit. Sorry, so this was which EPG? Sorry. This was the vCenter. So from DB, so I will, this will be the provider, this will be the consumer. So I have one created. So I will create one more. This is what is done. So it's up to you how you can either you can drag and drop it from here. This is not working properly, or else expand this EPG under contact section, create the contact, standard contact, provider or consumer based on your requirement. Okay. So yeah, this is all we wanted to cover. Check that how VMM integration can be configured, and stay tuned. We will be configuring some other policies like how the firewalls can be integrated with the ACI, how F5 can be integrated with the ACI. These videos will be coming soon. Thank you so much for watching.